It feels like every week there's a new twist in the ongoing saga of our legal and political landscape, doesn't it?
Definitely. It's hard to keep up sometimes.
And if you're like me, you want to understand what's driving these big headlines without getting, bogged down in all the legal jargon or the partisan shouting matches.
Absolutely. Cut through the noise.
That's precisely what we're diving into today. We're taking a close look at a rather, well, dramatic statement that's been circulating recently. Elon Musk's call for a wave of judicial impeachments.
Yeah, that definitely caused a stir, especially given the context of some recent unfavorable legal decisions affecting initiatives linked to DOJ Key, and also following a court order related to a previously removed CDC webpage.
Right.
These events seem to have acted as a catalyst for his remarks.
Exactly. So to help us really get to the heart of this and understand the arguments being made, we've been focusing on a recent analysis from the Ring of Fire on YouTube. They've offered a pretty strong perspective on this situation, and our goal today is, well, to unpack that for you. We want to understand the specific events that seem to have triggered Musk's demand, what the constitutional basis for judicial impeachment actually is, and, what the broader implications might be if such a call gained traction.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay, so the YouTube analysis points to specific legal setbacks in federal court as the fuel for this fire. Based on their summary, can you elaborate a bit on what those rulings entailed?
Sure. So the video highlights two key areas. Firstly, the ongoing legal challenges surrounding DOGE, the cryptocurrency, and various initiatives associated with Elon Musk.
Okay, DOGE.
Yeah. According to the video, these ventures have consistently encountered legal hurdles, leading to court decisions that are either temporarily blocked or overturn certain actions.
Right.
And secondly, the video discusses a specific instance where a federal judge mandated the reinstatement of a web page that had been previously taken down by the CDC, FDA, and National Institutes of Health.
Ah, okay. So it wasn't just a general dissatisfaction, but seemingly tied to these specific instances where the legal outcomes weren't what he, or as the YouTube source notes, figures aligned with the former Trump administration, had hoped for.
That seems to be the connection the source is drawing, yes.
Now, here's where it gets particularly interesting. The video really emphasizes Musk's direct tweet calling for an immediate wave of judicial impeachments, not just one.
A wave?
Exactly. When the YouTube analysts examined this, what was their main takeaway regarding the term impeachment in this context?
Well, the YouTube commentary is quite firm on this. They stress that impeachment, regardless of whether it concerns a political official or a member of the judiciary, is specifically reserved for high crimes and misdemeanors.
Right, that specific phrase.
Yes. The speaker in the video makes a very strong case that the actions of the judges in these particular cases, based on the information presented, do not meet the constitutional threshold of what would be considered a high crime or misdemeanor.
And they make a really crucial point, don't they? They highlight that the court rulings Musk seems to be reacting to weren't even final definitive judgments.
That's a critical element the analysis brings up. The YouTube analysis emphasizes that the cited rulings were, in fact, preliminary orders issued while the legal proceedings are still underway.
So it's still ongoing.
Exactly. They were not final decisions that could be immediately appealed to a higher court.
Yeah.
Therefore, the call for impeachment is occurring within the context of ongoing legal processes, not after these processes have reached a conclusion.
So the argument from the Ring of Fire is essentially that demanding impeachment based on these temporary rulings and without any apparent grounds for high crimes or misdemeanors suggests a fundamental misunderstanding.
Or perhaps
a deliberate disregard for the U.S. Constitution and the established role of the judiciary. It really makes you think about the very foundation of our government. What's fascinating here is how the video connects this situation to the principle of the separation of powers.
Absolutely. The YouTube commentary draws a direct line there. It underscores that while, for instance, the executive branch has the authority to nominate judges,
right,
it does not possess the power to dictate judicial rulings or demand the impeachment of judges simply because it disagrees with their decisions. The judiciary is designed to be an independent branch of government.
A check and balance.
Serving as a vital check on the powers of the other branches, exactly.
The video doesn't exactly mince words when it comes to their assessment of Musk's understanding of these core constitutional principles.
No, they're quite direct.
They even bring up the fact that he was not born in the United States, though that point seems more like, Well, an aside.
Yeah, a bit tangential, perhaps.
Regardless of anyone's background, though, what are the significant practical challenges and real-world implications of actually attempting to impeach a federal judge?
Well, the YouTube source touches on this, though maybe with a bit of dismissiveness, you could say. It highlights the substantial political hurdles involved in impeaching and ultimately removing a federal judge.
It's not easy.
Not at all. Even if the House of Representatives were to initiate impeachment proceedings, which would necessitate identifying specific impeachable offenses, remember.
High crimes and misdemeanors again.
Right. The conviction and removal of a judge would then require a two-thirds majority vote in the Senate.
Two-thirds, that's a high bar.
A very high bar. Given the current political climate and, well, the standards set by the Constitution, the video argues that achieving such a supermajority for a wave of judicial impeachments, particularly without clearly defined high crimes or misdemeanors, would be virtually impossible.
And maybe a waste of time and effort.
That's their view, yes. A misallocation of resources and effort.
The video definitely adopts a strong perspective, even hinting that this call for impeachment might suggest a more concerning underlying motive. They use some pretty strong language, even alluding to the idea of attempting to wield unchecked power.
It's a very pointed critique.
While that's certainly a very strong interpretation, it does highlight the potential dangers when influential public figures publicly attack the legitimacy of the judiciary simply because they don't like the outcomes of certain cases.
That's a crucial takeaway, I think. When prominent figures question the integrity of the judicial process in this manner, it has the potential to erode public trust.
Trust in the courts, yeah.
Trust in the courts and the rule of law more broadly. Even if these calls for impeachment don't actually result in any removals, they can contribute to an atmosphere of distrust and undermine the perception of the judiciary's independence.
Which is so vital.
Absolutely vital for a functioning democracy.
So, okay, let's bring it all together then. Our deep dive into this YouTube analysis of Elon Musk's call for a wave of judicial impeachments reveals several key points. First, the demand appears to be directly linked to recent unfavorable legal rulings concerning initiatives connected to DOGE and that temporary court order regarding a CDC webpage.
The apparent triggers.
Second, the video strongly emphasizes that impeachment for federal judges is constitutionally reserved for high crimes and misdemeanors, and the rulings in question were temporary orders in ongoing cases, not final judgments.
Crucially, not final. And third, the speaker in the YouTube source strongly suggests that Musk's call may indicate a potential misunderstanding of fundamental aspects of the U.S. Constitution.
Like separation of powers.
Particularly the principle of the separation of powers, yes. And it raises serious doubts about the practical feasibility of such a large-scale impeachment effort in the Senate.
Right.
The video expresses concern about the implications of a powerful individual demanding the removal of judges simply due to disagreements with their legal rulings.
Which leads us to a final thought for you, the listener, to consider. Given the fundamental principles of an independent judiciary, really a cornerstone of our legal framework and the inherent complexities of navigating legal challenges, what are the potential long-term consequences for our system of government when public figures, regardless of their motivations, call for the impeachment of judges based purely on unfavorable rulings?
Yeah, what does that do long-term?
It's definitely something worth pondering.